Grizzly, you're back, and today, NFL Fantasy Football, Stardom, Situm, Week 11 of the NFL season. Oh baby, it's going to be a banger. We got a nice new series coming. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's get things going. You want to win your Fantasy Football week in Week 11? Playoffs are coming soon. I got the best advice out there. I've made millions of stubs, virtual currency, and MLB The Show, predicting which players will do good and who's going to get updates. Now it's time to apply my football knowledge to fantasy football. Let's get right into things with the first player you're going to want to be starting. That player is going to be Puka Nacua. Now let me tell you why. Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford's back, and even if Stafford wasn't back, I think Carson Wentz is a solid quarterback as well. Carson Wentz likes slinging the ball. Puka Nacua is a pretty good medium-range wide receiver guy. I think Puka Nacua has a nice rebound game. The last couple of games without Matthew Stafford, he had 7 points and 6 points. He had 7 targets both of those games with garbage can Brett Rypien. But now that it's going to be a nice game against the Seahawks with Matthew Stafford, I like starting Puka Nacua in your lineups. Projected 14 points, I like it. Next up, who else do you want to start? We're going to do back-to-back starting guys right here. Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, did you get him in waiver wire? I mean, I think he's averaging 20 points this season, but he's played with 2 different teams. With his new football club, he's averaging a lot of points. His last 3 games against the Baltimore Ravens' stout defense, 27 fantasy points. At the Atlanta Falcons, 29 fantasy points. At the Saints, 27 fantasy points. Now, my league has QB bonuses, so, you know, it is what it is. He's had, on average, like 45 yards rushing in his last 3 contests. And, I mean, he's getting touchdowns, too. He's had a rushing touchdown his last 4 games in a row. And then he's had 2 touchdowns back-to-back weeks a couple weeks ago. Last week, he balled out. And then the Vikings played so well last week with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. I mean, they basically just ran the ball in the second half and shoot clock. So he could have gotten more than 27 points last week. Now they're going against a team, the Denver Broncos, on Sunday Night Football. The Broncos, their offense has been known to turn the ball over. Might give the Vikings good field position. Should be a good battle. I like starting Josh Dobbs right here a lot. Now the first sit, you saw it in the thumbnail. I'm going to be saying be cautious with this guy. Be cautious with Najee Harris. Now why is that? Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers in general, their point differential on the season is actually negative. So that means that they're actually getting outscored. Yet somehow they still have a positive record. It's a testament to the head coach, really. Now, Najee Harris is actually coming off his best performance of the season against Green Bay. He had 16 carries, 82 yards, and he had 3 catches for 14 yards. He's getting targets in the receiving game, about 4 targets per game the last couple weeks, which you like to see that from a running back perspective. And then he's averaging about 13, 14 carries. That's fine. The last couple weeks, the last 2 weeks, he had 16 points and 18 points. But he scored a touchdown in both of those contests. So that's a 6 point. That's basically saying he's touchdown dependent. And who's his counterpart? His counterpart is Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, I mean, he's also getting the same amount of touches that Najee Harris is, maybe a little bit less. Last week, he also had his best game of the season against the Packers. So it's almost like a fluke type game. Now the Browns offense isn't going to get a lot going, so they're going to have to run the ball a lot. Maybe his volume will increase, but it's a true 50-50 split. I'm staying away from that for sure. Next guy I'm not going to recommend starting is Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards, he's had a couple good games based on touchdown dependency. His last 4 games, he's had 1 touchdown, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. Really, besides the touchdown dependence, Gus Edwards, I don't know. And then last week, he had 9.8 points, and that's including 6 points from a touchdown. I don't like it against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now back to another start. Another Raven, actually. We're going to go with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, you might be wondering why I even have to suggest that you start him. Well, it's because he's had a couple bad game performances. Last 3 weeks, at Arizona, 14 points. Seattle, 11 points. Cleveland, 17 points. Now, the thing is, he's still using his legs. He's still getting those rushing yard bonuses. But, I mean, really, he hasn't needed to throw the ball. The Ravens have been basically dominating everyone. Now that they have a tough AFC North matchup, AFC North matchups, things usually get pretty crazy in those games. I think we'll have to throw the ball a little bit more. Him and Mark Andrews are going to pop off a little bit on Thursday Night Football. We'll see, but I'm saying start Lamar Jackson. And another start. Back to Thursday Night Football. Give me some Ja'Marr Chase. Man, Ja'Marr Chase without T. Higgins, I think is going to pop off. What did he do last week? What did he do last week without T. Higgins? He had only 6 targets and still had 23.5 points. Crazy. 5 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. And I think his volume is going to improve on Thursday Night Football. And so, I mean, I think the points will be there for sure. So definitely pounding the start on Ja'Marr Chase. Another sit. a guy that we just saw struggle a little bit, maybe not, on Sunday Night Football, I believe, or was it Monday Night? It was Monday Night Football when the Bills trolled against the Denver Broncos. That's going to be James Cook. James Cook, I'm going to say, don't start James Cook. Let me tell you why. We all saw his struggles holding the football, and then he got benched, and it was a volatile situation. But he did have his best game, one of his best games of the season besides week 2. He had 12 carries for 110 rushing yards, and then 2 catches for 11 yards on that. He got 12 points in week 10, and that's one of his best performances since week 5, week 4, week 3, week 2, week 1. I mean, he hasn't been good as of late. I'm not liking the James Cook situation, averaging 11 points. He even got 11 points last week when he had 111 rushing yards, and he hasn't really gotten a touchdown. 2 touchdowns all season for James Cook. New offensive coordinator coming. Maybe we see an improvement, but I'm going to stay away from James Cook if you have a better option. Another bench, George Pickens. Pickens has, in his last 3 games, 5 targets, 4 targets, 1 catch, 2 catch, 3 catch. 9 points, 2 points, 7 points. I'm not liking it. I mean, Pickens should have had a couple touchdowns the last couple of weeks. Hasn't been able to get the feet in bounds. I think he's definitely going to improve over the season, so I think he'll become a starter later on. But as of right now, not starting him week 11. Another sit, Isaiah Pacheco. Now, Isaiah Pacheco, he's got the potential. I mean, if he can get things going, then the Chiefs will rely on him heavily on the ground. You can easily picture him getting, 12 6-yard carries throughout the game. But they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, the #1 rushing defense. Monday Night Football game. I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring than people expect. I think the defenses are going to show up big. His last 2 games before the bye were Denver and Miami. Denver, he only had 8 carries and he got 6 points, and he had 3 receptions on top of that. And then in a big game, similar situation against Miami, he had 66 yards rushing, and that's it, 6 points. So I'm going to stay away from Isaiah Pacheco this week, even though the touchdown potential is there. Staying away. The last sit of the video, a couple sits in a row, we're going to go with Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce, he's had a bit of an injury. He's been banged up, but you're going to want to stay away from him right here. He's projected about the same as Devin Singletary right now. Dameon Pierce might not even play this week. He's questionable. But even when he isn't questionable, he's had 4 points, 3 points, 9 points the last 3 weeks when he was playing. I'm going to stay away, even though that Texans offense seems to be improving. Now we got 2 more starts to end the video, and I'm hoping you guys added this guy on waivers. We got Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler projected 12 points. If Alexander Madison doesn't go, I think Ty Chandler is going to have a beneficiary of Josh Dobbs' elite quarterback play so far, and Ty Chandler will get some nice volume. I like him as a start. The last start is going to be Travis Etienne. Now, why do I even have to tell you guys to start Travis Etienne? It's kind of like Lamar Jackson. Etienne had a tough game against San Francisco 49ers. 6 points, 9 carries for 30 yards, only 2 catches. He's going to bounce back. The weeks before that, he had 36, 23, 23, and 26. I mean, against the Tennessee Titans team, you got to hope that, the Jaguars only go up by 1 or 2 scores so that they don't, phase Etienne out. They keep all the starters in. But I think he'll get a hefty amount of volume against the Tennessee Titans, and he'll be back to a good top-tier RB. That's the video. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Comment down below if you have any questions on whether you should start someone or sit someone. Let's get lit. Who's winning week 11? Let's go.